Just say I do.
Welcome back to Behind the Veil. My name's Keith. I'm the host, a show that goes deep into the world of weddings and events. And I just totally messed up that intro, even though I've been doing the same intro for a million times. But, you know, hell, welcome to live TV. So today we're going to be talking about wedding cake. So we did a show about a year ago with Earth and Sugar, who are our guests again today. And it blew up. It had actually more viewers than any of the other event weddings or conversations that we've had since, with over 20,000 people watching us on YouTube and about 40,000 on our podcast, which is crazy considering, you know, it is the one staple when it comes to weddings that continues. That tradition continues year after year, and not a lot has changed. But has it? So today our guest is Miki Dames. I'm going to have her on in just a second. But before we bring her on, let me introduce Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hello.
Man,
How are you?
I just screwed that all up, didn't I?
Hey, it's a first.
Oh my God. You know, you do something so many times that you think it's just rhythmic. You know, you're going to be able to just. And I don't know what I was doing. I think my brain was a little somewhere else at that particular moment. And I went, oh no, oh
it's
God.
still catching up from the weekend.
Oh my God. Anyways, so I mean, I'm excited about talking about wedding cakes because I have a lot of questions in my brain when it comes to that, because it does seem to be the one tradition that continues regardless of whatever else is happening.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy because other things come and go.
Everybody wants to know, what does it look like?
What is it going to look like? What is it going to taste like? Oh my goodness. And if you follow Earth and Sugar's Instagram, it's mind-blowing. But
So
our guest today, yes, I know, it's amazing. And talking about beautiful, Miki Dames. Let's bring her on. Hi, Miki. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Miki.
Guys.
Oh, it's so nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You know, we were just talking before we went live, is that, you know, that we've known each other for a really long time. I mean, it's kind of like once you get into the event industry, you just kind of, you know, move around, but you don't actually leave it. You stay in it, just move different jobs. But you've been at Earth and Sugar for like 3 years now, which is incredible.
Yes, it has been 3 glorious years.
Yes, and it's shocking that you're not fat. I have to say, it's not fair.
Really? And a couple other people who didn't know that I was available.
I'm just saying, if I worked at a place that did nothing but sugar, I'd be like twice as big as I am now. And you know, oh my God.
You know, when I first started, I was like, yes, I totally have self-control. Like, I have a lot of self-control.
Right.
And then they were like, no, you are the product development manager, so you have to taste things. And I'm like, okay. Tasting turned into 20 pounds. So
Wow.
No, I can't taste anymore.
Wow. Well, I mean, okay. So Earth and Sugar is one of the, like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you've got to go check out their Instagram. It's the coolest ever, because you really do see the cake from start to finish in like 20 seconds. It's
Yes.
pretty brilliant.
Yes, it's insane. I was singing to the girls today because I found this thing on TikTok where everything is content and everything. Because I told them I need them to record everything. I need everything, because even you breaking down a cake or messing up on a cake or whatever it is, it just shows that, you know, we aren't perfect, but we do produce great work. So yeah, I think they're tired of me with singing.
That's amazing. Well,
I mean, the elements you include are just amazing. I mean, like, just the little tiny details all put together is just, it's mind-blowing for the viewer, because we get to see things that we don't normally see on a lot of other Instagram, you know, profiles. So it's just really a cool way of marketing too.
Well, and then how do you, you know, that's one of the things, being a baker, a lot of people don't really understand that how much effort really goes into each cake. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard the question, but $1,200, $1,800, $3,500. I'm like, you have zero idea of how much time and effort it takes to put into a really good wedding cake.
Yes. And
you know, go ahead.
I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss. We take our time to, you know, really put our resources into our staff, and our staff is what is most important to us. So
Right.
how long would it take them to complete something is what drives the cost for our cakes. If you are looking for the dog, like I know some people just think it's just cake, but it actually isn't, because it goes through a process. Like someone has to actually make the batter, then bake it, then frost it, carve it, and then design it. Like it is a process. So.
Well, by the way, your mom just said my daughter is the best.
That's my dad, actually.
Oh, it's your dad. That's funny.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, your dad was like, my daughter's the best. Yes.
My number one fan, all the way from the Bahamas. I love him.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. So what does it really take when you start the process? I mean, if somebody's coming into your store and says, okay, I'm ready for you to bake my cake. Like what's the process?
A few questions that we ask just to get it going. We need to know when it is. If it's tomorrow,
no,
we have some challenges there, right? But if you give us a good enough notice in regards to custom work, we need to know how many people you're expecting at this event, because then it'll dictate the size of your cake. Or if you do a smaller design, do you need sheet cake? You know?
Right.
And then we go on from there to get an idea of budget. A lot of time people want us to give them the price of something, but then they get sticker shocked. And it's like, this is the cost, but tell us where you are. Tell us what is your budget. Everybody has a number. Just tell us what it is, and then we will work backwards. So we will tell you, okay, these are the things that fit within your budget. Do you have wiggle room? We can then add more things. It just depends on what is happening. And then distance. What are you looking for, and where do you want it to go? Because certain things can only go so far.
Right.
So we definitely ask all of those questions to get started, and then we go from there. We sit down with our designers, we come up with designs, we then present that to the client, and if they're happy with it, then we go from there. We just start running with it. It's
incredible because, and I think what a lot of people forget is that your cake is going to be instrumental visually throughout the whole 4 or 5 hours of the wedding, or let's say 3 hours because you got to serve it. But still, it's a big component of the decor. And so how much money are you willing to really spend on something that's not only tastes good, but is beautiful to look at and adds to the overall visual of the space? I mean, we've all seen a million pictures of wedding cakes.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
we've all seen wedding cakes. We've all seen different pictures, but I think for us, when people come in with like a planner or someone to help guide them, the planner is able to tell them like, hey, let's plan for X amount of dollars on a cake because we want to make sure it looks great. So it's just having that knowledge of what a cake costs and then what you actually want it to look like.
Go ahead, Marcy.
Do you have like a certain, like I heard you say something about how the distance, do you send out of the area, or are you kind of more into like the Tri-County area that we all are in?
Well, we service the majority of South Florida. Like we go all the way down to the Keys. We are up in Treasure Coast. Like we service those areas. But when we're talking about a cake that is going to the Keys, that is about 2.5 hours away from our studio, we tend to lean towards like, hey, let's try to do this cake in fondant. Let's do this design in that, just to talk about the safety of the cake during your travel, and then also once it gets there, will it still look like what we leave our studio as? So we talk to a lot of clients about making smart decisions in regards to what the outside of the cake looks like, and then our team, they are so skilled with making sure things are structured properly and they won't fall off in the middle of an event or anything like that. The team is talented in that way.
That's happened before. Not to an earth and sugar cake, but I've had that actually
Mhm.
happen. The leaning tower of cake. That's always fun to watch it, and everybody's making bets. How long is this going to last?
Yeah.
Or a room that may be near a window that all of a sudden, because it's been sitting out, the sugar attracts like ants and so
Oh my
forth. So
God.
you gotta like make sure there's so many elements that you have to make sure of.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest preconceived ideas when somebody comes in for a wedding cake? Because I can tell you that a lot of people, first of all, price seems to be a big one. Or they say, well, can't you just do it out of foam? I hear that
Yes.
a lot. Like, oh, but they just do the decor out of a foam cake and then give a sheet cake, which is a lovely option, but it doesn't reduce the amount of time it took to decorate it.
It does not. The
Right?
the time it takes to decorate a foam cake and a sheet cake is a foam cake and a full real cake is the
Right.
same amount of time. What you are adding cost on though with doing it out of foam is that we still have to provide you cake. So the cake has to be in the sheet cake. You still have to pay for that part of it. So it just depends on, what your budget will allow you to do. Sometimes we just recommend like, let's do the whole cake real. Like it's fine. It can be real.
Right.
If you want it to be a display cake, and some people get shocked that a lot of cakes are display cakes. If you want it to be a display cake, that's a personal preference.
Right.
But we still have to provide you cake. Like guests are there for cake.
I have a question about if you have a client. This happened to me many, many years ago. And I had a client where they wanted to look at images of cakes, and I gave them an idea, and I showed them how many, I showed them this different styles, and I said, your cake is going to be based on the number of people that you have for your wedding. And they came and they were expecting, and I don't know why they expected it, but like they had a group of, I think, 40 people. And the cakes that I showed them, they were like massive, beautiful cakes. But the question is, they came in expecting a massive, beautiful cake, even though I had mentioned that it's going to be based on the size, the cake size will be based on the number of people that you're planning to guarantee. How does a couple convey if they want to have more cake or if they want that more grandiose feel? Do they just need to tell you we want that extra cake and so forth? Wouldn't you say?
So what we do for instances like that, where a couple is like, I want a big cake.
Right.
We go through and tell them, if you want a cake that is 5 tiers, you are talking about almost over 200 servings of cake. Will you be able to eat all that cake? Probably not. It's a lot.
It's a challenge I'm willing to accept.
Some people are just like, I'll eat my way out. But no, we have to talk about this with the logistics behind it. If you only have 40 guests, we can definitely do a 5-tier cake. But now we're talking about translating that into styrofoam and then providing you with side cakes that'll serve your guests.
Right.
But you have to tell us that's what you want. So when we do our tastings with clients, we tell them, okay, at 40 guests, you will be at a 2-tier. And they'll say, okay, but I want to be at a 5-tier. Okay, no problem. Let's talk through this. This is how we can get you to a 5-tier.
You can pay for it.
Right. Do you have room in your budget for a 5-tier? Like we talk about all of that to make sure that when you leave our tasting, you are clear on what you are getting.
All right. So we have
a big thing.
So we have a question. It's is it truly possible to make a very creative cake taste good? I found that fancier cakes sacrifice taste in the name of creativity. Now, I'm going to first say no, that's not true for you guys, Earth and Sugar, because your cakes are amazing. But there are some bakeries in town that bake their cake 2 or 3 days in advance, sometimes 4 days, 5 days, put them in the freezer, whatever. We've all been there, all seen it. And so they do give up some of the fresh taste quality in order to create this like a really wow moment visually. What's your answer?
For us, everything has to go into production.
Right.
Most of the time people think, you know, we can bake a cake the same day and provide it the same day, but that isn't real because you have to make sure that the cake is cool and stable enough in order for us to design it, right? Okay.
Right.
However, one of the biggest conversations that we have with our team all the time is, how does the cake taste? Did you taste it before you put this cake together? Do you know what your batter tastes like? Do you know what your frostings taste like? Those are things that are very important to us outside of the look of a cake, because at the end of the day, most of the people that are attending weddings, yes, they see the cake for a brief moment, but it's the taste of the cake that defines it for them. And we got a lot of people that come to us and they're like, the cake was awesome. Like, it tasted great. And they just want us to provide a cake for them that tastes good. So one of the biggest things for us, we always go over it every week. It's how are we doing? Do we need to tweak any batters? Did we get any feedback from any clients that said, you know, something was a little like, we take all of that information in and we make sure that at the end of the day, our cakes not only look good, but they also taste really good. And I can tell you, because the 20 pounds of my body is telling me.
There is no way. I'm just telling you, there is no 20 pounds on your body. Oh my God. And it's so funny. I'm sitting here watching the two of you, and both of you have amazing lighting. And I'm like, why do I? And I just realized that I'm still sunburnt from this weekend. So anybody that yes, we were through a tropical storm, but there was still sunshine coming through. It was awful.
In the Keys.
In the Keys. So yeah. So, but that brings up a really good question. I mean, what about adverse weather events that come up? Because they always do. And, you know, and there will always be somebody that says, oh, we're going to still do the wedding, especially as we go into hurricane season. We've all been there. You know, what do you guys do when it comes to, you know, because you got to put down the law somewhere when it comes to wedding cakes. What's the overall like rule when it comes to that?
So this past weekend, obviously we were in that storm with you. Like all of us were in that storm.
Yeah.
So the first thing for us is we plan with our driving team. They are team, we call them, because they get the cakes there on time for the event. So we planned with them. We told them, okay, instead of coming in at your scheduled time, come in an hour early, just to give you guys a little more window to pack the cakes and get them out safely into the vehicles and at the venues. For us, once a cake has already been produced, obviously all of the work has gone into it. So what we did earlier in the week is we checked in with most of our clients and we said, hey, is this still a go? Like, just let us know if this is still a go. Some people moved their venues, which we had to deliver to different venues. Some people moved the date completely, but we needed to know that information at the beginning of the week before we go into production. Because once we're into production, you know, the ball is going. We have to go with this. So we did deliver all of our cakes this weekend. It looks like everybody had their weddings and events. Like they didn't let the rain stop them. For us, we do our due diligence to make sure that we check in with the clients prior to make sure that the event is still happening. Like,
but I mean, I find it amazing that, you know, out of everything that's still a tradition, I mean, things have gone through changes over, and, you know, all three of us have been in the wedding and events industry for a bit of time, not too long, but we've seen changes over the last decade of what things people find important. Are you seeing what are the things that you're seeing as far as changes, maybe just to the visual dynamics? Are you seeing cleaner lines? Are people getting more into the ombre, since that was kind of big for a little bit? You know, I mean, what are the latest and greatest ideas when it comes to?
The latest and greatest that we've been seeing is pressed flowers. Like, a lot of people want pressed flowers on cakes. And then the vintage style. So, you know, Gwen Stefani, she did like her mom's cake or so, whatever the story was behind it, that is super vintage with that type of pipe work. We see a lot of people coming to us for that. Like, that is what they want. They want very old.
Really?
Like old school style.
Like Bridgerton kind of style?
Yes. I mean, I'm obsessed with Bridgerton. I'm forward to Reggae Jean to come with me one day. But I
was about to say, I think all three of us could agree on that. I mean, just the recent episode where he fell into the water, and I was like,
Oh my God.
I
Oh
said
my
it
God.
is not fair. That is
I got
not fair.
everybody into Bridgerton. I'm like, you have to watch this. It is so important for your life and culture.
It
that
is.
you-
It
that
is.
you
It
watch
is.
and then we saw a lot with like Love Shack Fancy, like that type of print style, very girly. People love that type of stuff. So I think
Right.
there are people who still want the modern straight lines, clean lines. They still want that. And then some others, a lot of others now
Right.
are looking more for that, vintage pressed flower Love Shack Fancy kind of deal.
That's interesting. By the way, we got a comment. How awesome is it for you to work for such crazy human that your demands more than your very best? Yes, Gendrin, the owner of Earth and Sugar. God bless her. We love her.
Listen, she is, woo, when I tell you guys, she did not grow this beast by not being who she is. Like, this is incredible to work for her.
Yeah.
Just so much I learn every day. Every day is a new challenge in regards to how can we be better? How can we do this better? How can we implement something to, alleviate something else? Like, we talk about all of the things all of the time. And, unlike other people, she's very hands-on.
I know it. She is very, very hands-on. I'm actually surprised she's not at your door, like looking through the window.
He's actually on the other side of the computer. Just say hi. Say hi to him.
Too funny.
Yes, she is. No, it's really been a journey, because I came from sales. Like, sales was my background. I networking and sales. That's what I did all the time. And to come over here and now have the position of managing, this mammoth of a business, and I mean a growing business, because it is not stopping at all. It just takes a lot of research, takes a lot of time, patience, putting in the work. It's a lot, but I enjoy it every day. So,
I mean, it is kind of incredible to stay on the very positive, happy side. It is difficult to keep a business in the proper public light in a positive way year after year after year after year. I mean, how important is social media now in the process of getting the word out and getting people to come to you as versus another cake place?
So social media for us is everything. Like, we rely a lot on, I manage over 9 platforms for the company.
Wow.
Yeah. Some days there's sleep, some days there's tequila. I just make it happen.
Oh, you're speaking his language.
That's it.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
So for us, it's, every platform provides a different audience. And while we have our target audience, which is the people who we focus on, we still have a lot of people who actually don't know that Earth and Sugar exists. And it's just because some people are on different platforms. So how do we focus on, everyone and where they are represented in order for them to fall into, call us for our cake? And then at the end of the day, it's visual. We provide a product that is very visual. Like, people look to see, the fancy, the very cool architecture type things. They look for all of that with us. So a lot of our work in regards to our gallery and things like that is on social, and that's where people interact with it, and it's very important for us. So,
and do you ever, because obviously you deal with some probably more famous people than others, and this actually was a very good question that somebody put out there.
That's my brother.
So have you ever been told not to reproduce somebody's cake?
Yes, sir.
Has that ever happened? Really?
Yes, sir.
Somebody's like, nope, that's my cake. Sorry, you can't use that cake for anybody else.
We have signed many NDAs for cakes and things that I can't even show you. And I mean, some cakes, I look at them and I'm like, but please, can I just show like the bottom of the cake? Like, it's so beautiful. Like, please, can I? And they're like, no, you can't even show us making the details to go onto the cake.
Really?
So,
Wow.
we have signed many NDAs of cakes that you guys will never see, but they are gorgeous.
I just find that fascinating that somebody wants you to sign an NDA for a wedding cake or cake and in general. I just find that
they
it's
don't
cake.
it doesn't matter to them. Like, they just, and I mean, when I tell you some of the cakes are spectacular, like I can't even, it's so good, but some people just don't want us to recreate that cake, and that's okay with us. We're fine. We still have about 40,000 images in our Lightroom to edit, so I think we can do it without a couple.
All right, so you still have God, that's a lot of pictures of cake. You ever get tired of pictures of cake? You're like, okay, great, cake. Can somebody please give me something else besides cake to take a picture of? Oh my God, please.
No, I think that we do a lot of things outside of cake as well. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Desserts are so crafty. The girls are working on a mushroom Rice Krispie right now, so it's out of Rice Krispie, but it's made into a mushroom, and then they're going to design it to be a part of a fairy garden theme. So that type of stuff, cool. It's so fun and cool to see the stuff that they produce. Yeah. So it's a lot more outside of wedding cakes, and we've been getting a lot more requests for creative designs. And then a lot of things for like corporate wants, their own custom desserts with their names on it. And instead of doing place cards for tables, we get a lot of people who want place cards made out of a dessert. So how do we provide that to them? So there's a lot of things that we do with dessert outside of wedding cakes.
See, that's just fascinating to me. Yeah, it really does.
It is. And Janvern is Willie.
And
Okay, I have to ask you, what was the craze? Like, I'm sure that like every couple that comes to you, you obviously have to ask, are there any allergies? Because the couple, one of them may be allergic to some ingredient that you cannot use, like a piece of fruit or something.
Right.
But what kind of combinations have you seen that you've gone, and it
bad
or good?
No, good.
Oh, okay. I was like,
well,
I'll ask the opposite. FYI,
okay.
I am. I'm gonna ask like, which one did you came in? And you went, what? Oh my God, people have the worst taste on earth. Anyway, not that you would ever say that, but that's okay.
No, I can't. But you gotta have your poker face on, Dad. Like, you have to be like, oh my God, that is so amazing. But in some, I'm trying to figure out which combination.
Okay, while you're thinking about it,
yes,
I'm gonna actually put something out there. So, like, I am sure that every one of us has been asked by a client, "What do you think of?" And the client wants your input, and obviously, like, we are there to help them make decisions that are best suited for them, because every couple is different, and what we may like may not be something that the client likes, but you want to support them in them making their decision. So going back to the cake, what were some of the things that you thought, I don't know if that would work, or, oh, that really did work?
Yes. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So we offer, for example, for our cake tastings, right? We offer pre-combined flavors. So like a vanilla with dulce de leche and vanilla buttercream.
Right.
Or, chocolate with salted caramel, chocolate buttercream. So you have the opportunity to try, if you are with one of our wholesale vendors, you have 5 flavors. If you buy it on our website, it's 6 flavors. So you have an opportunity to try 6 flavors of cake, but also maybe 6 or 10 flavors of filling. So sometimes people will come and they're like, oh my God, I love this cake. For example, I had somebody the other day, it was with banana cake and they wanted lemon filling.
Oh.
I wasn't sure about that one. And they asked me my opinion. I was like, well, for me, it wouldn't be a combination that I would do, but let's.
Right.
And then I had them try it. I'm like, take a little piece of your cake and try it with this, and then you tell me how you feel. Because the cake, both things taste awesome, but they may not be awesome together. So I do give them, not brutally honest, but I do give them my opinion in regards to certain things, like what will work best.
Right.
Not to shy them away from what they want, but just to give them a little bit of insight on what I think, because I've had these things for so long.
Well, and talking about somebody not afraid to give her opinion, there's Brooke Logan Stoner. I was.
Hey, girl.
She crammed her way right into that.
She did. She
Hi,
said, "Oh, that's fun." I was like wondering. I was looking at the timer, going, "Oh, wow! I wonder if she's gonna make it to today's show."
She made it.
She made it.
No bronzer, no contour, but she made it.
That's okay. You'll be fine. One of the things that what do you do when it comes to structure issues, right? Because sometimes people want the impossible. They want a something that is like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, let's say, and you're like, we really can't make that cake. Is there ever a moment that you say we can't really make that cake, or do you guys get together as a team and go, okay, wait, if we build a structure like this, we can actually make this happen?
So there's not a lot of times where we have that happen, where we say like we can't do something.
Right.
What we first do is we all look at the strengths of our team first. Who can do what before we say yes or no to anything, right? So who from our team can sculpt something like the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Like, we need to know that, We've had one time that someone wanted us to make a cruise ship.
A cruise ship
with doors and glass and all of the things. Like, they wanted a realistic cruise ship. For us, something like that, not only would it take a long time, it just didn't work with what we already had booked. So we never want to sacrifice someone who has already been with us, right?
Right.
So it couldn't work with what we already had booked. And then we had to look at the team. And at that time, the person who could possibly do it was already booked with the amount of work that we had. But we do tend to say like, hey, this is not something that we can take on. We thank you for reaching out, but it's just not something that we can take on. But we rarely have instances where we can't do something. But if we can't do something, we sit down as a team first before we say no.
Well, the dog is pretty incredible, by the way. If you go out to their Instagram, they have literally a cake dog, and it's pretty incredible. It looks real. It's like,
I was like, trying to get table numbers on a table lately. So I mean,
oh, Brooke, let's last weekend lay where it is.
you brought it up. I want table numbers.
Oh, that's actually not an interesting kind of idea. Have you ever had anybody say, look, we want to do centerpieces that are pieces of cake? I mean, what is the craziest thing that you said, what? Okay, nope, we can do that. Or is there an NDA attached to that kind of thing? Oh crap! There's an NDA attached to it. Oh no,
there is. I mean, the craziest cake that we recently did was a cake that was almost 7 feet tall.
7 feet tall.
Yes.
How many people did it serve?
It didn't serve any.
No.
It
didn't serve any. There was a little piece in the back for them to cut out. But it didn't serve any. It was
one of those dummy cakes, honey. Just looks real pretty. You get 2 bites in the back, and we sent the sheet cake on the side, but that cake, we had to transport it in 3 sections in order to get it to the venue. And then our entire team went to the venue to set that up, because not only did we have to do that, we had to put flowers on it. There was a lot of logistics behind it. But yeah, when they set it up, I stood on the side of it, and it was clearly 2 feet over my head, and I'm 5 feet, so 5'7".
Oh, please tell me you took a picture of that. Oh,
Oh, I
please
did.
tell me.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
If you actually go on our Instagram, it's one
Yeah.
of the most viewed videos on our Instagram.
Wow.
Okay, I was about to say that's got to be kind of amazing to,
that was
to
epic.
see that. You know, but then when you're making that kind of cake and you're saying, oh well, only the back two pieces, are you then really being cake vendors or are you being sugar sculpturists?
Ooh. Well, I think we're a little bit of both. Sometimes people. So recently, I had somebody who didn't want a wedding cake. They just wanted a cookie cake. Like they just wanted something sweet for their event. Or we had another person. We made a cake into a football, a volleyball, because that's what they wanted.
Right.
I think people come to us for not only the artwork, but they see that, oh, the cake does taste good. Like they want desserts and things like that. But a lot of people first come to us for the look of things, knowing that we can produce.
Well, and that's the other thing is that, again, we're going to go back to like one of the very first things we talked about is that a lot of people just assume that wedding cake is just not going to taste good. You know, they're just not going to taste good. But I do love when you were talking about the tasting. I have actually come and gotten a little to-go tasting box before for, you know, some of my clients that are just flying in for one day. And it's like, okay, we don't have time to come up to West Palm, but I'll go get a little kit, you know, tasting kit, which I think was just adorbs, by the way. I think that is so smart. So smart. And then taking it to the tasting, you know?
Yeah. We have 3 options for that when it comes to tasting. You can come and meet with me or Jandarin, and we can talk about design in person, or we can deliver it to your home or deliver it to your planner, or you can come and pick it up. So we still have the option of you meeting with us via Zoom to talk about your design and things like that, especially for those who are traveling. And then for the one-off person who really wants to spend the money for that overnight shipping, because that's the only time we would send a tasting somewhere, is that. But outside of that, you know, the 3 main options that we have is you can pick up, we can deliver, or you can come in.
Have you ever made a cake in the shape of a combo?
Not yet, but when you call me, Miss Brooke, I will do that for you.
You know where this is going.
I love that. A combo. Oh, that would be really cool. A little combo bag. Oh my God, that would be really cool. You know,
the little combos falling out.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, but you know, when you talk about the intake process, so to speak, I don't think a lot of people understand that there is an actual sketch that is done. You know, when we were doing the Ziggy Stardust baby shower, that was how it started. That was so good. That was so good. I mean, the little baby Ziggy came out exactly like what we had designed for the napkins, which was ridiculous because I don't even know how those two things even, because we never shared the design with y'all ever. And then to have them like right next to each other, it was exact. It was crazy exact. But, you know, but there was a whole sketch pattern thing going on, which I thought was fascinating.
Yes. For custom designs, unless you send us a photo that is an exact replica and you're like, listen, I want this exact cake, we do custom work. So that comes with a custom sketch. And with that sketch, we will outline everything that'll be on there.
I know you have a massive fan club. Let me just say, bow down to your
siblings and my parents.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, just my siblings and my parents. I'm the oldest of 11. It's a party in our house.
Well, I can tell you, they're all watching. Every single one.
I will say, hands down, my favorite baker on the planet is Earth and Sugar. The cakes are so good.
They really are. Good. They really, really are. And I think that the attention to detail is not just from, and I like the way you said this, that you had somebody come in for a big cruise ship, and that would have been a lot of money, and you know it was a lot of money, and then to say, no, but customer service is more important.
Yes.
We don't want to stretch our team because we've already got these things on the books, and it's important to treat our current clients well.
Yes, for sure. That's one of the things we have a team in the front that just deals with customer service, me being one of them.
Right.
that is important to us. How long it takes us to get back to a client when they call, all of that is important to us. And I think that is one of the driving forces behind us, having the success that we have in the industry.
How did coming back from COVID affect y'all? Because everybody is so slam busy at the moment. I mean, it's hard to find people to do deliveries and transportation and trucking, and then of course for you guys, like deliveries, right? I mean, how to get sugar and the basics in. I mean, has that made a difference in y'all's business?
Yes, it has. It has made a difference. It has made a difference in how we plan, how we order, what we do, the amount of money we charge for cakes now. It's just the cost of everything has gone up because of COVID. Right. Significantly, to the point where, we had to sit down and reevaluate how we were going to do things. There was a point where, all of us were riding around looking for ingredients because things are sold out. It's just, we have to be smart on how we order, what we do. And then that has reflected in a way in what we charge for our custom work now. All of our work.
Well, and then did you have to go back to any of your customers that you had already had invoices for? Because I know a lot of people were eating that extra business, especially florists, because cost of flowers went way up. And then all of a sudden where they were going to make, their usual, now all of a sudden they're spending money to produce the flowers. They're not even making they're going at it as a loss in order to continue to do the flowers. Did you run into some of those same issues also?
Not for us. For us, what we have done, we've absorbed a lot. We've absorbed a lot of the costs with producing things. Only because anybody who has already booked with us, we honor those contracts, and it's just a part of us. Moving forward, however, we made some changes. Well, we've made some changes, but anyone who has booked with us, because we've had a lot of weddings we scheduled from 2020 into 2021, 2022. Now moving into 2023, we talk to them and we let them know, hey, if you are not able to book your wedding within an X amount of time, then the cost will change. But we do give them enough notice with that type of information should we do that. But so far, anything that has been postponed has already happened.
So what about offices? Now that your business is growing so much, I know. And were you just dying for this question? Because I remember you used to have a Miami office and you closed because of COVID. Are we going to get a Miami office? Are we going to get a county office at some point? That would be amazing. I'm just saying. Broward person.
We have teamed up with our friends at Pedal Productions. We do have a tasting room down there, not necessarily an office, but a tasting room where we have scheduled dates that you can come in and do tastings. But right now we are opening a new building. So we are in the process of, building our new space, which is a couple minutes up the road from us. That has consumed our time.
I'm sorry, is that north or south? Are we talking?
It's a little south of us, but it's
good.
On Dixie Highway.
I know, but it's going, coming south. Okay, we love it.
It's still on Dixie Highway, but we, that is our baby right now. That is what we are working on. We are still having the tasting room, and obviously we are working on expanding our reach in regards to having an office in other areas of the state. But for right now, we just need to get through this building.
Well, because your offices there are like ultra tiny. And ladies and gentlemen watching the show, when I say tiny, I am not kidding. They're like,
this is as big as my desk. My desk is as big as this. I am actually sharing an office. It used to be 3 of us in here. Right now, it's only 2 of us, and then two people next door. So we, there's a lot that happens in these
it's well, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking you whether or not there was gonna be offices that are gonna be open at some point, because you guys are growing like crazy. I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to be able to start taking on more people. At some point, I don't know. There's a balance there, I guess, that would be difficult because trying to balance that personalized service and making sure that you keep that quality right where it is, or even better. But also,
we just found for us, we're just better together. We're just better with each other and bouncing off ideas and doing all of that stuff together. So in the next space, yes, we will have our own offices and stuff like that. But I don't think that'll take us away from our meetings. Like I feel like we huddle like a football team. Like we sit down and then there's like managers that meet, then we do the office, then we do production, and it's just like meetings all day. And it's just because we want to make sure that we touch all of the bases in regards to our customer service and clients.
What do you think is the next big thing in wedding cakes? What do you see as kind of like the next wow thing? Because for a while it was sugar cookies, or the little cookies with the that everybody was doing for a while, and then it was cupcakes, mini cupcakes. Everybody wanted a cupcake to give away to people. What do you think what are you seeing as the next trend for
the next trend that we
crystal ball?
I know, like what can we see coming up?
Because you already talked about the pressed wildflower.
The wildflowers. I think for everybody wants personalized stuff for their clients and for their guests.
Right.
And everything is a personalized thing. So I've had weddings that they want to do away from the cake. They just want something small just to serve them or to have the ceremonial cake cutting.
Right.
But they want everyone to have individual cakes, or they want people to have an individual dessert plate where it has mini desserts on it. So I think for us, what we have seen is a lot of personalized things, personalized requests. So for the next big thing, I think we're going less big cake, more small cake, and more personal touches for everybody.
I think that's really, and I really do see that customizable feeling, that experience. They want their guests to have that, customized, individualized experience.
Yes. Even for weddings, usually you see that more for corporate events, meeting events, and things like that. But for weddings, they just want everyone to have a customized experience that is tailored just for them.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. And then what about technology? How has technology changed what you're able to produce? For a while that was the printer that printed on sugar paper, was edible ink, and everybody went crazy over this. I can have my face on a cake. It's like, okay, I don't know if you really want your face on a cake, because then everybody's eating your face, but whatever.
We recently did that. We recently had that. She wanted like the Marilyn Monroe balloon. I mean, it was super cute, but it was her face, and she had big hair from like the 70s, and it was great. We loved it.
Oh, I love this. For everybody's information, they do have vegan options.
Yes. Okay. Back to my dad. He ate a dozen cupcakes by himself. They were vegan because he's vegan. So the vegan options, we do have vegan, we do have gluten-free, all of those things. Like, and I like to say that you can't taste the difference because it's the quality here is so good.
Right.
That, even if it's gluten-free or if it's vegan, it is super yummy.
Well, and more people are becoming vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being able to offer that kind of thing is becoming more and more just normal day-to-day operations.
Yes.
I mean, it used to be the vegan cake. You walk in and it said vegan cake. Go have some grass. I don't know. But, but now.
Sounds good and healthy, but I just love
Not anymore. Not anymore. A lot of people come in with the idea that they have to take care of all of their guests. Like I said, that personalized experience. So when they have people that are gluten-free or vegan, we do provide them with smaller options. Maybe that is a cupcake, or it is a dessert, or it is a full cake that you can share amongst those people. So, you know, we want to make sure that everyone is cared for when they leave here. So we do have those options as well.
That's incredible.
Moving forward, when you're quoting people, because I know we talked about this briefly before, but I heard something today that some of the restaurants, and I don't know that it's happening here in Florida, but I guess there are some restaurants over the country that are now tacking on surcharges because of materials being higher in the restaurant scene. Are you putting the cost into the full, meaning the per person, or are you doing it more of a surcharge where it has like a line item?
So for us, the main thing that we are seeing right now is gas, right?
Right.
And
$5 a gallon. What?
It's crazy. Like, it's absolutely nuts. So what we do is delivery is its own line item, but we also tack on a note there that these prices are elevated because of the current climate. So we make sure that we provide that information to the client so they don't think like, okay, oh my God, $300 to go to the Keys. You could understand now because it's almost $300 to fill up a tank. You know,
I just did it. So yep.
Yeah. So we do take the time to make sure that we write that information should there be an increase. If you're looking for custom florals, yes, the cost of flowers have gone up. So all of our items on our website that offer flowers have a little note at the bottom that say, right now, the cost of this cake is X because of the increase in floral costs. So once we get back to normal, we will make sure we adjust those. So
and it will go back down. Are you not going to just always leave it as a higher price because now you can?
We are fair. I like to say that. We are very fair with our clients. We are very fair when it comes to our pricing, and we want to make sure that it is not something that you're like, oh my God.
Right.
But we also we let them know. So
yeah. Well, you're a business, for goodness sakes. You're
right.
Don't be greedy, pigs get slaughtered.
I know that's Brooke's favorite. I love that saying. She's like, you know, greedy pigs get slaughtered. It's like,
right. Exactly.
Fair is fair.
Yes.
It's true. It is true.
Very fair.
Well, Miki, that was. I can't believe it's already been over 50 minutes. So I want to say thank you so much for being on Behind the Veil again. I know that it's been a year. We need to have you all on sooner than that, but but it's amazing how much, I mean, like seriously, how many people have been watching the show and all about wedding cakes. It's still a big component of people's weddings, and it's actually one of the more fun components of a wedding. So you can understand why people are really into it. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's more about the tradition behind it. We have found that a lot of people still want the cake just because of the tradition, which is great for us.
Right.
It is but we find that a lot of people are moving away from that, keeping that top tier for the 1 year.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about that. What is it? Is that an actual thing? Can you keep it a piece of cake for a year?
You can. Is it going to be as delicious on the day? I don't know. Like, have you tried one? Because I haven't.
Yeah, we did.
We did, I think, like 1 month or 6 months. You know.
Right. You know, so it just depends. And we tell our clients, like, hey, you know, you have the option. You can keep this up there by all means. You can. I
don't understand that at all, but and then of course people don't wrap it, and then the electricity goes out at some point. It thaws.
Yeah, but we tell them like, hey, you can do that, or you can come back to us next year, and we'll make you a fresh one. And most of the time, people come back the next year for a fresh one.
I was about to say,
we'll make sure it's the same flavor you had for your wedding, all of that. So.
Cake nauseous top tier.
Talking about the cake,
I love my
cake
tie.
that you can ship. We actually have a product that you can ship, so you can actually ship a cake to a client.
Yeah,
if you're having a birthday or anything like that, you can ship a cake. So that's the cake nosh. That's an actual
product.
Yes.
God, I'm telling you, God bless your friends and family, man. They've just reminded us. You must talk about cake a lot.
They're on point.
Because they are on point.
Yes, they're amazing, and they're great support. Thank you guys for reminding me of all things. I may have paid them to do that.
Well, I can tell you right now that they are lucky to have you because you are amazing, and we are so proud to have you as part of our South Florida family. Not just our Earth and Sugar, but you specifically. Yes. You've always been so on point with everything, all of your ventures, and they are lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Keith. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So that's it. Behind the Veil. We will see you next week, Tuesdays at 2:00. But for now, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.